There is no diplomatic solution acceptable to the United States other than regime change. The policy of the United States towards Iran, towards the Islamic Republic, is the same policy that Israel has, that the Islamic Republic is evil and must go. End of story. I mean, and people need to pay attention to the details. 50% of the American negotiating team, first of all, 100% of the American negotiating team is Zionist, pro-Israel. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. All right. You might as well have Netanyahu sitting down at the table. It's the same thing. They're meeting Netanyahu right now. All of the Zionists in the American administration are meeting with Netanyahu because it's one big Zionistic cabal. Regime change, regime change, regime change. Jared Kushner, who's supposed to be sitting there telling them, look, my father's serious. We could avoid a war. Before he went over to negotiate with Iran, he met with Iranian opposition figures in the United States to form a new government. He is forming a new government as we speak because the policy is regime change, not to peacefully get along. There is no deal that can be made with the United States, none whatsoever. And I think Iran recognizes Iran is going through the motions of diplomacy right now, but they just make something else clear too. The United States, Iran must get rid of its missiles, especially those missiles that can strike Israel. If Iran got rid of its missiles, especially those missiles that could strike Israel, there wouldn't be an Iran today. It wouldn't exist. The only thing that allows Iran to continue to exist are the missiles it has that can strike Israel.
The story between Washington and Tehran did not begin yesterday. It began in 1979, the moment the Islamic Revolution overthrew the U.S.-backed Shah. From that day forward, America's objective has been clear: regime change. After the revolution, sweeping sanctions were imposed on Iran, and over the decades they only expanded, targeting its banks, oil exports, military, even ordinary trade. Today, Iran is widely described as one of the most heavily sanctioned countries on earth. Then came 1980. Iraq invaded Iran in a brutal 8-year war that killed more than 500,000 Iranians. It is a well-known fact that the United States encouraged or green-lighted Saddam Hussein's attack and later provided him support, deepening the trauma and distrust. Over the years, tensions escalated further. Covert operations, cyber attacks like the Stuxnet virus targeting Iran's nuclear facilities, the 2018 U.S. withdrawal from the nuclear deal despite Iran's compliance under international monitoring, the maximum pressure sanctions campaign, and the 2020 killing of General Soleimani in Baghdad by direct order of President Trump. Inside Iran, officials and their supporters also accuse Washington of backing opposition groups, amplifying anti-government protests, and funding efforts aimed at destabilization. In their view, Washington isn't searching for compromise. It's chasing one outcome: regime change. Not adjustments, not agreements, not coexistence. In reality, U.S. policy toward the Islamic Republic mirrors Israel's hardline stance, that the current Iranian government is fundamentally unacceptable and must be replaced. That's why every round of talks is nothing but theater. Every handshake is a show. The negotiation teams look pretty much like high-level Israeli leadership. Kushner and Witkoff, who lead the U.S. negotiation team, are already in contact with Iranian opposition groups to form the future government of Iran. This fact alone is the proof that the goal isn't reconciliation, but political transformation. So the message is stark. The objective isn't to strike a deal. It's to reshape Iran's government entirely. All in all, Iran's readiness for negotiating its nuclear program or ballistic missiles program is a strategic error. The last June military confrontation with Israel and NATO showed that Iran is not defenseless. What the world witnessed was the U.S. and Israel miscalculation. The whole thing started with what was supposed to be a decisive knockout blow from Israel. But instead of collapsing, Iran's response was unexpectedly strong. They didn't just recover quickly, but by the end of those 12 days, they had shown they could hit pretty much any target they wanted inside Israel. And as the war went on, the tables completely turned. Iran's offensive power grew while Israel's weakened. Advanced Israeli jets were forced to break off their attacks when they were engaged by much older Iranian planes. As the major cities of Israel were pounded by Iranian missiles, they had to ask the U.S. to broker a ceasefire. There are better ways to achieve peace. Only if the United States and Israel are willing to address the core political grievances in the region. First, Hezbollah. If Israel were to verifiably withdraw from all Lebanese territory, the main reason for Hezbollah's militia would just disappear. Iran would even agree to help facilitate their disarmament as part of a treaty. The same logic applies to Hamas. If a genuine, independent Palestinian state were established, that would be the condition for Iran to completely cut off its support. But why doesn't this happen? Because the real goal isn't regional stability. The U.S. policy is to intimidate Iran into total submission in the preparation for the ultimate goal, the Greater Israel Project.